Hey everyone, Eggman here with another video, and today we've got my current favorite deck for the GD02 meta of the Gundam card game. It is a build of Psycho Gundam, and kind of a spoilers for a video that I made earlier this week, but Psycho Gundam is just my favorite card from the set right now. I think the way that it works is really cool. The mechanics are great. The way that you can build it are way different. I've seen people play like a purple-blue build. I've seen a build of blue and red with the Cyber New type stuff, and today we've got a build that's going to be a blue and white build as well. So super excited to test it out. I'm also going to be doing some testing with this later today as this video comes out on my live stream, so make sure to check that out. And if you guys are new to the channel, please make sure to hit that like and subscribe. We make a lot of content for the Gundam card game. If you guys want also any of my current builds for the Gundam card game, you can find it linked in the description too on my website, Eggman Events. I'm going to continue to update this build and many others on that kind of table there, and there will be maybe a chance that you're watching this a week or two later and I've made some minor changes based on maybe some feedback and some testing that I've done already. But yeah, we're going to play a blue and white build for this one, and we're going to talk about the Psycho Gundam. So kind of two important cards. We've got the Psycho Gundam and the 4 Murasame here. So you guys don't know what the Psycho Gundam does. It is a Breach 3, and then also has this during pair with the Cyber New type pilot, which in blue and white, this is the only one that exists right now. So that is a little bit tough that you can only use it with 4. But during pair, when one of your Titan units destroys an enemy shield area card with damage, this unit recovers 2 HP. So a couple things to note off this. So this can work off your own Breach effect. This can also mean that if something that just has the Titan trait is able to get rid of something in the shield area, it also procs. But also, this is not once per turn. So there have been a couple times where I'm able to use this for like a double heal too, which essentially gets me back to full health more times than not, which I think is really cool, and that helps out the deck a whole lot. So really happy with this card. And so also the fact that it has Breach and kind of has this forward momentum is really cool. You also could play like blue green with this as well. I haven't seen anyone try it out, but the fact that you could just do something like put Wu Fei in here and then you have like Breach and you don't take damage, I think that's like a really cool effect for this one. So love this. And then also the 4 Murasame here. So is a Cyber New type and Titan type pilot here. Is a +2/+1. So with the Psycho Gundam, it becomes a 6/6, and with the effect here, so during link once per turn, during your turn, when this unit recovers HP, if you have 4 or less cards in your hand, you get to draw 1. So clearly, like, the idea is that you put it in here and then you're able to make a 6/6. As long as you attack into something with less than 6 AP, you're able to breach, likely get rid of something. If they do have a base up, it does kind of mitigate this effect, but you can usually kind of play around it in one way or the other. You get rid of their thing, you get to heal up a little bit, and you get to get a card draw. With all that, just works out really well. It is a little bit clunky. You kind of have to build into doing that effect, but I think with the build that I currently have right now, there's just a lot of ways for you to be able to do this, and also just take advantage of the fact that just this is a generic pilot sometimes, a +2/+1, and you can get some great effects with it. So these are kind of, again, important cards. We're going to leave these up to the side over here so you guys can remember them when we go through them, and let's go through the rest of the deck. So hopefully, don't chastise me. We're playing a blue-white deck, so we got to play our white blockers, right? We got the Ilfrith as well as the Rick Dios here, right? Just great blockers that lets us get to our late game a little healthier as well. Also, kind of based on the playstyle that I've been doing, I don't really block too early unless the trade is really good with it. I don't mind if they hit my shields a little bit early, because usually that means that I can set up like a really good Psycho Gundam play. There's also some cards that really depend on how many blockers that I have out, and so with that, I don't want to give my opponent any like free advantage. So I think that being able to like just set up blockers, they can hit my shields and I can get some card draw from that as well. But we can usually just kind of keep a steady hand and keep waiting for them to give us something as well. So you got a 4-3 split of the two of these, and I think this is just pretty standard. If you want to go more, you can. I've also thought about putting Zawart in the deck as well, just because sometimes I usually like going first with this deck a lot of the time, just because you do get the extra draw going first, and if we're trying to kind of like out card draw our opponent or out resource our opponent, this comes up quite a bit. So the last card for the level 3 spot, we've got 2 copies of the Marasai here. This is just something that has the Titan's trait, so one, you can link this with the 4 here, and you do be able to get a 5/4 that's able to attack the turn that's played. Also, the during link effect, remember this later, there are ways for us to heal this card in this deck, which means that there are some kind of sneaky draw ones that we can do every once in a while. So there it is. All right, next up we've got our level 4s, and it is just the RX-78. So this guy is great. You guys don't need me to tell you this. This is probably one of the strongest cards in the game right now. And there are so many games where I'm like, if I see this with Amuro early, I just win. It's just super good. But I've also been really impressed with this Gundam as well. This is the GD01, so it does have this. All of your white base team gets repair 1, but also when paired, if you have 2 or more other units in play, you get to draw 1 card. So usually what I kind of do with this is that I kind of set up my blockers early, and then like if I have like a good like Gundam with Amuro play set up, then I can use that effect. I get to get the card draw from the Amuro with the pair here, and then I still have my blockers up for, you know, potential other plays too, and even like usually protect this, and then I can like attack with it again, which is really, really good. So I like all these are great. The fact that they all link with Amuro is really, really good, and should not be surprised with a lot of blue decks, right? Like Amuro is just really, really tough to pass up as a card that you want to use. So there we go. Breaking into our 5s, we do have 2 copies of Psycho Gundam MA mode. This is just a repair 2 that links with any cyber new type, so obviously it links with the 4 Murasama here. So there are just some times where I'm like, you know what, I can just play this on curve. I can get the damage there. It's usually like early game, I have too many cards in my hand for this, you know, to actually get me the card draw if I play it on curve. But like the repair 2, it's just kind of like a mini copy of like Gundam and Amuro. So I think that's good by itself. Not like I don't think I've played more than 2 of this. The fact that it does link with this is good in its own way, but I think like it's just kind of fine. Sometimes it's like a little bit expensive. The stats for it are not like super impressive all the time. I mean, it has the exact same stats as the Gundam right here, but like the trade on like this card is like clearly better. Like look at these 2 cards. Like this one is like clearly better for like the same level kind of thing. So it's tough to make this card any better than it is, but I do think we play a couple copies of these just because it does have the synergy with the 4 there, which helps us there. So there we go. All right, we also do have 2 copies of Ailstrike. This is probably like one of the weaker cards in the deck right now, but there are kind of like some decision points on how we want to build this. You're going to see that we went more with the strike package than necessarily the some other packages. I have thought about using like Academy with like Soletta instead, but 2 copies of Kira definitely do a lot of work. They're really good even if you have like the off pair with one of these GD01 Gundams, and it's really helpful to get those effects. So also, there's just some weird times where, you know, like not necessarily, but like you can put like Kira and Psycho Gundam. You don't get like the heal or the card draw, but you do get like the be able to get out of damage, and then later you can heal it up with something. So I think this is like fine. And your spoilers, we are playing Kira as well, but that is the end of the level 5. So we are also playing 3 copies of the Psycho Gundam here. I've really want to bumped up to 4 copies, and if you guys want to do so, I don't think that's too insane there. But it is like the hallmark for the deck is part of the great things about it. And my favorite thing about this card is that you're able to fight for board and also start pressing for game, right? Generally speaking, like I don't really press my opponent too much, and unless they play a base themselves, which usually means that they're a little bit behind on tempo, I get to just use this and I get to break an EX space, which is great. And then I get the card draw off the 4. I get to heal this back to a 6/6, and then I have like some really great ways to defend this, and then just kind of defend the Psycho Gundam in that way. So 3 for sure. If you want to play 4, you can, but I do think this is, again, it's the hallmark for the deck. You definitely want to play 3 or 4 copies of it. So and then to kind of wrap it up, we do have the 7-drop Freedom Gundam. This card's just insane, right? It's maybe a little bit expensive for some matchups, right? But the fact that you are able to play this out, it has really good synergy with their Psycho Gundam. So if there's something that we want to attack into with Psycho Gundam, we can do something where we play Freedom, we play like the Kira, any pilot to give them minus AP, and then you're able to like attack Psycho Gundam underneath it, and then it's able to survive kind of thing. So I think that's something that's really great. This is obviously one of the best blockers, I think, in the game right now. If I wasn't playing Kira, though, I don't know if I would play this card. So if you want to try maybe a different pilot solution, you can, but I don't think this is like a bad card, and sometimes it just kind of wins the game at the end game because it's just really tricky for some of the lower to the ground pieces to kind of trade into it. So there it is there. So those are all the units that we have. We have 24 units in this deck, which is a little bit on the low side. Spoilers, we are playing striker packs, so technically we're playing 27 units if you want to think of it that way, but you know, that's definitely one thing that I'm like, man, I wouldn't run any less units. If you're trying to change any ratios, I would likely add 1 more unit or so, and we can talk about what cards we do for that, but these are the units that we have there. So pilot-wise, it should be pretty standard for Amuro. That's all I need to say. We are also playing 2 copies of Kira. Again, this does link with the Ailstrike as well as the Freedom Gundam, but this is also just like a really good pilot to put into any unit, right? Especially if we're trying to play this game. Like this is kind of like a repair control deck where we just have these units, and it's very easy for us to just repair them up, have them at whole, full health the entire time. And it's really tricky for your opponent to actually take board control away from us, which is, I think, a really cool hallmark for what this deck wants to be. So we've got these 6 pilots, and then unsurprisingly, we are also playing 4 copies of the 4 here. So I am working on my the rare plus collection of these. But again, this one, again, it can be a little bit clunky, but you can see that one, you could put it in the GD01 Gundam. It can get us a card draw. We can put it in the RX Gundam, and even just making this a 6/5 aggressively is good enough. The fact that we can put it in Ailstrike to get rid of a token or something, and we can also put in the Freedom Gundam. So and it links with also the MA mode, the Psycho Gundam, as well as the Murasai. So it's not like a terrible pilot. I want to run 4 because I feel like we need to find it all the time, and it might make more sense if we're playing more copies of Psycho Gundam 2, but I think it's a great pilot when it works. And again, like if we can play a really stellar game to defend the Psycho Gundam, we just keep drawing cards, and we're going to have a hard time for your opponent to like really interact with them. So those are the pilots there. So moving into the commands, we have quite a few. We are playing 4 copies of the Overflowing Affection here. I do think that this is a card that is probably like better than Show Resolve here. The other reason for it is that we don't necessarily need to have more cards in our hand. We just need to have the right cards in our hand, because we do have ways to draw cards alternatively outside of the Show of Resolve there. So we're playing 4. It's really important, especially since if we're going first on 6, if we don't have the 4 Murasama, or we don't have the Psycho Gundam, we can play this. We can play the 4 and the Psycho Gundam in the same turn, and that's really, really helpful. So I think 4 is like the right number of the overflowing. If you want to go down to 3, go for it, but this has been, I think it's kind of saved us on a lot of consistency, because our hand size is not always going to be large, but we're going to have a lot of value from it. We also have 3 copies of the Overflowing Affection, which this is the entire reason I'm playing this deck. I'm not even kidding. Like, this is the reason I think this deck really works. I've been really tempted to put a 4th copy into the deck, and I have not done it, and it's probably for the best. If you want to run 4 for it, go for it, because this card just has won me games in the past, and the biggest reason that I play this card is with this guy. So when I did a lot of testing with Psycho Gundam, I was just like, well, I can kind of trade with things really, cleanly, but the biggest issue is that, I only have 6 HP, and there's like a bunch of like 7 AP units that exist in this game right now, like Kshatriya. There's also like the Kubile, right? We also have just a bunch of cards like that it's kind of tricky for us to trade with and survive, right? So with that, we can attack with Psycho Gundam. Let's say they play Kshatriya on 5 and we're at 6. So we can play Psycho Gundam for 4. We can use the 4 Murasama afterwards. So this is now a 6/6. We attack into their 7/5, and then we can use the Overflowing, the Unforeseen Incident, to make them now a 4/5. So they do 4 damage to us, and then we heal 2 back as long as we get rid of something in their shield area. And now we're a 6/4. This card replaced itself because we get to draw off the Psycho Gundam in most cases, as long as we have 4 less cards after we use this. And then they lost their Kshatriya, and then we have this big 6 HP or AP unit on the board that if they don't get rid of, we get pressure with again next turn. So I think that's really, really strong. I think that's something that's really great for this deck, and it's like the choice combo for it as well. So I've really thought about using this at 4 copies. Again, we're going to stay at 3 right now. If you want to play the 4 copies, I don't think that's too outrageous for you. So there is that. And then to kind of wrap up our commands, we kind of spoiled it. We got 3 copies of Striker Pack. It's a unit, it's a command, it has one of the best bursts. It's another copy of Ilfrith any turn after turn 3. It's a very good card. I think tokens are a little bit weaker in general, because there are some ways to interact with it, but I'm never upset to do this. If you want to go down to 2 copies, you can, but again, this kind of technically counts as one of your units in your game, so you can't really take it out fully. So lastly, we've just got a couple more cards. I do have 1 copy of Show Resolve. I don't know. This feels weird to say. This does sometimes feel like the weakest card in the deck, just because like I don't necessarily need to get more cards. Sometimes this gets stuck in my hand. I don't have anything to do with it, and like 3 resources is like a little bit expensive in the mid game. So most of the time, I'd rather get the Overflowing Affection instead. If you guys like playing this card, I would play no more than 2 copies of it. And there are times like this can help you win the game and get like the card advantage way back in your favor. But I just find like most of the time it's just kind of clunky. And if I would have been able to do something more proactive earlier, I would have had the board still, and it made it, kind of trickier for my opponent. So I will likely take this card. I might take this out for another copy of Psycho Gundam as well, but And you're not like, it's okay to play one copy of this card. I think that is fine. So that is that. And then we've got some kind of spicy, honestly, it's a mild spice, but I think it's like one of my favorite cards right now in this deck, and it is the side 7. So there is a new base for this game. So level 4 1 cost, and it's called Dominion. You're able to play it and you get to heal a blue unit for 2 HP, right? Which doesn't sound too bad, especially for how this deck works, right? And my biggest issue with that card is that it only picks blue units, and then you kind of have to play it the turn that you do, and then like kind of makes it difficult for you to actually like get the heal as it works, right? So I think the better way to play this is like the side 7's been really handy. The fact that it can heal anything, so that does mean it can heal some of our white blockers, which ends up coming up every once in a while. There are also times where like at the end of my turn, like the Psycho Gundam, even if I have nothing to attack into to get like the breach and deal damage to itself, I could just play side 7, draw a card from my shields, and then use it to then heal with this as long as the 4 is underneath it. So that's also kind of the idea with like the Murasai and also the 4 as well. So there are some times where you can just use side 7 to heal it after the fact, and that will be like really strong to not only like establish a base, get a draw off this, but then you also get to get a draw through your deck as well. So I think that's really important. So it's been nice. It's just like a 1 cost base. It does have 4 HP, but I don't think that really matters as much as people think it does. And the kind of like, you guys can probably tell, right? The big idea about this deck is that we put cards on the board and they stay there unless your opponent wants to use a lot of resources to get rid of them, and then we just kind of win the resource grind game at the end of it. So last cards is 2 copies of the Naorigama, just the standard base right now. I think this has been really strong for resting cards as well. If you don't like this card too, I think that there are some chances to play cards like the Corsica base, which has been really good. I think white base might be like a little bit too expensive, but like these cards, like you get to play and then you get to get their effect on the next turn, or like the turn that you play them, potentially with this one if your opponent doesn't interact with it. So I've been pretty happy with this build in general. Again, I think there are some ways to make like maybe like an academy build with it. So if you don't like the Kira package, you can play cards like the Ariel. You can play like the Star Deck one that gives the AP minus on the pair of anything. You can also play like the rebuild from GD01 that lets you get events back, or sorry, commands back by using a pilot, which we do have a bunch of pilots being able to recycle back into any of the like we only play good commands. I don't know how to say it otherwise. So if you want to get one of your good commands back, you can do so. And I think that this is a pretty fun build. So I think there are some like chances to change the card pool a little bit and kind of work on some ratios, but I think there's some really cool gameplay that you get to do with it. I'm really looking forward to doing some more testing with it as well. And definitely one of my favorite decks right now in the GD02 meta of the Gundam card game. So that's going to be it for me. If you guys want to check out the deck list, it's linked in the description as well. And looking forward to other brews. And if you guys have like a Psycho Gundam build that you're really proud of, let me know. I'd love to see it. I know that I've been seeing a lot of like blue and purple, as well as blue and red. I think blue and red, because it does have like the Cyber New type overlap, and being able to use it with the Psycho Gundam is kind of strong too. Just even like just getting the heal off this card like later in the game is good enough, right? Even if you're just using a Merida there, it doesn't have like the link with it, but the fact that it is like a Cyber New type is pretty nice for those abilities. So, and then you can also like pull the full frontal in there, and then you have 6 AP and 7 HP, which is still a great body. And then you can also heal from that as well. So other than that, I think this is a fun deck. I've been having a lot of fun with it, and looking forward to seeing if I can do anything with it in the next couple weeks. So that's going to be it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you all next time.